Hello, I'm Charlotte Atchley, editor of Baking and Snack, and in our October issue, you can read all about the new fully automated facility that Toronto-based Breadsource opened earlier this year. Joining me today is Qaylun Sunderji, capital project lead for Breadsource, to tell us more. Thanks for joining me today, Qaylun.
Thanks, Charlotte. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Kaylin, when your family was building this new bakery and making this big investment, what were some of your goals that you had?
So, of course, our main goal was to increase our capacity. We found ourselves in our old facility to be limiting the new business that we took on and actually turning away or delaying some projects because we were at capacity. So, we knew that for future growth and to take the business to where we wanted it to be and to really reach new heights, we needed to increase the capacity. So that kind of led us into looking into an expansion, and that was kind of the key driver of it. But we also saw that there were a couple other reasons and goals with this expansion. So one was that the equipment in our old facility was really beginning to show its age. Some equipment we had there was 20 plus years old at the time, so obviously there were new technologies in the market that would be very beneficial for us. I really want to take advantage of those generational improvements that the baking industry has experienced. So we found that some proposed new technologies that we had seen at various shows, and that also were kind of shown to us by some of our previous suppliers, had equipment that results in greater efficiency, increased reliability of equipment, and also reduced downtime, which of course are all goals for us. With these new technologies, we also wanted to capitalize on new features and capabilities that were introduced to really increase our product range and what we can execute. So, with the new equipment, we have the ability to do more with unique shapes, patterns, and toppings on products than what we could do in our old facility. So we really saw and really, our kind of philosophy is that the market is demanding, more unique, more custom products. So we really kept this in mind with the new facility because we want to bring, things that you can't really find everywhere to the market. Another key goal that we had was to improve the consistency of our products as well as overall quality. So really a challenge with, the previous process that we had, which was, a semi-automatic process, a lot of manual steps and a less controlled environment, coupled with older equipment, was that products didn't always turn out the same. So one day you'd have products that maybe had more cracking, or maybe they were a bit darker, for whatever reason, where you can only control so much. Whereas in a new facility, the goal is to reduce this variation even further to really achieve greater consistency. And with all that being said, all those goals, it really led us to looking for a fully automated solution. We felt that was kind of the answer to these goals and would help us achieve them. So with an automated solution, of course, we could achieve greater efficiencies and throughputs, but we could also improve our quality as the process was far more consistent and controlled all the time. We also knew that beyond just the efficiency and the quality is that it would be better for our workforce, because instead of that's really important to us, because instead of them being bogged down physically demanding, arduous, labor intensive tasks that begin to wear people down over the months and years that they do the job, we found that we could upskill them to actually operate automated lines, and instead really set the parameters and tell the machine to do the heavy lifting for them instead of having to do it themselves. So really, creating a more pleasant and calmer, cleaner work environment was a real big part of the thought process as well.
That's awesome to hear. Now, you mentioned that your previous process was semi-automated. There were a lot of manual transfers. With this investment, with a fully automated line, you've nearly eliminated all of those manual transfers. But you also worked with your OEMs to create not only a fully automated line, but a fully integrated line. So, how did that process work? Working with the different OEMs that are represented on this production line to make sure all that equipment could talk to each other.
As you mentioned, yes, we did work with a lot of different OEMs. It's all brand new equipment in our facility, so we brought in quite a few different OEMs into the picture. However, we really knew that in order for this to be successful, we had to elect a lead OEM that was really responsible for the integration of all the other OEMs' equipment into this fully automated production line. So we, of course, we did elect Mechatherm as our lead OEM. They supplied, a majority of our conveyance, our oven proofer, hand store system, deep panning. So a lot of equipment there, and we felt that they would be, well equipped to manage the rest of the integration. So really, what we did was we facilitated this communication and exchange of information with the lead OEM, to ensure that the proposed solutions from all the other OEMs were compatible with each other. Each OEM was responsible for validating their solution and for compatibility with the overall line architecture with Mechatherm. So it was really a lot of conversations and back and forth to make sure that everything was aligned before we signed and said this is the right solution for us. Another aspect of that was really it was about doing simulations and putting ourselves in the shoes of the operators to really anticipate, how they would work with the machines, their workflows, as well as any potential challenges that may arise, during the daily activities. So we, simulated changeovers, we did time motion studies of various activities and key processes along the line to really understand how it would look in practice. And this led us at some points to, challenge the OEMs and their proposed solutions with our requirements and the information that we gained from these simulations and studies. So, of course, OEMs are experts, but we didn't just, take that expertise and put blind faith in it because it is a custom line. So really both parties are kind of experts. They're the expert in the equipment side of things, and we're the expert in, how our process looks like and what we need, right? So it really was, a lot of collaboration at the end of the day, for us to understand what the equipment could do and for them to understand our exact needs and how our operations are. And of course, it's a bit more challenging when you're working across OEMs and trying to integrate them because there's all different systems, different ways of doing things, and there's of course different constraints that you have to manage. But with electing the lead OEM, it really was a smooth process overall. Like everything was designed to be compatible with each other, and we at the end of the day we did achieve that, of course. And then, once the line was designed and installed, also it was about operating and maintaining the line, how we, deal with this on a day-to-day basis. So a key part of that was getting OEM training for operations, maintenance, and sanitation to, have them engage our teams to get an understanding of how to properly accomplish these tasks effectively. So this is of course important in both maintaining the function and performance of the line, but also it's about transferring the necessary skills from the OEM and their knowledge center to our workforce so that we're more independent. Because the end goal is of course to be self-reliant, to be able to address most issues and to be able to operate the line and maintain the line without having to call them for every single thing.
You talked about some of the benefits at the top of our conversation, but I'd love it if you could distill what those benefits were that came from implementing this fully automated, fully integrated production line, and maybe some that surprised you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So a key one that we saw, and this was something that was an improvement from our old facility, was the elimination really and avoidance of bottlenecks. So the entire line was designed to work together and to work at a certain speed. So all the equipment was designed correctly for everything upstream and downstream of it. So we really saw that with this engineered end-to-end solution, we were able to achieve the design throughputs that we expected. That was really one major improvement for us. Another one that we really saw, and as I mentioned before, was the elimination of manual transfers. So this really helped us with our product quality and consistency. We found that with a end-to-end automated solution, the process is now much more gentler on the dough, allowing us to achieve a better and more consistent end product overall. In terms of repeatability and efficiency, of course, it's kind of an expected one with an automated line, but of course, it is a benefit. Is that the same process being done on the product every day? You know exactly what to expect, and it's consistent. So this helps us not only to achieve a better product, a product that's the same day in day out every day of the year, but also to operate more efficiently as we're not dealing with as many constraints anymore and dealing with as many variables expected or unexpected because of course everything is all in line and it's all the same. And then, as you mentioned, anything surprising, like yes, we did also, see a positive surprise was that we actually are now using less dough conditioners and improvers because of this gentler process. We found that when we first came here and we were using the same recipes as at our old place, we were really, like the dough was kind of, they were like balloons almost, like they were really, overproofing just because we didn't need as much improvers and conditioners now because the process was so much gentler and we weren't like kind of, I guess, beating up or, you know, degrading the dough. So this, of course, is a cost savings for us because now we don't have to use as much ingredients to produce the same product.
Well, thank you so much, Kaylin, for joining me today and sharing more with us about the Breadsource and its latest facility.
Thanks so much, Charlotte. Appreciate the opportunity.